Guess what, guys? The 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander has been updated. Although you probably wouldn't know it just by looking at it. Not that it necessarily needed a major facelift, so it didn't get one. And honestly, you can't really tell by looking at it that it has been updated, but that is perfectly fine. A few subtle tweaks, new paint, a couple new wheel designs, some touches to the front end. That's about it for the exterior changes. Inside is where you are going to see and hear more of the important updates that have been made for 2025. So first, let's talk about what hasn't been changed, and that is the powertrain. This is the gas-only version. The 2025 Outlander plug-in hybrid is already on sale. It doesn't have any of the changes made to this version. Those might come in 2026, but that is to be determined. We're talking about the gas-only version, which is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine. It makes 181 horsepower, 181 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to an automatic, continuously variable transmission. No, it's not very sexy or exciting, but no crossover like this is, and that means this setup is perfectly fine. No real complaints. Some tweaks to the ride and handling character. Yeah, this thing is pretty anonymous, but in a good way. It's fairly smooth, although I will say the 20-inch wheels that I have on this tester, they do present a few problems, especially around town at lower speeds. Over potholes, pressure cracks, sewer grates, you are going to feel just a little bit more road imperfection than you would want, or than Mitsubishi would want, considering how much it's hyped up the changes here. But other than that, it is fairly smooth and quiet. Now, something that makes it not so quiet, but again, in a good way, the audio systems. There are two new versions to choose from. Both of them are by Yamaha. This is the first time we have had Yamaha audio in a production vehicle in North America. It's okay. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's fantastic, though it sounds pretty good with the 12-speaker system in this top trim that we are testing out here in California. There's also an 8-speaker stereo. That's kind of cool. I guess people care. Me personally, I think they're all sort of the same. Yeah, it is decent. Having 12 speakers is better than 8, but to me, just give me a sound system that does the job out on the open road, which is the case here. We should also talk about some of the other tweaks. This console has been redesigned, a little bit bigger cup holders, and they have been shifted just a little bit. This sounds crazy, but they've been tilted a couple degrees so that if you have two cups the same size next to each other, they're not rubbing against each other. I like subtle touches like that. I also like stuff like the ventilated front seats that you can now get a Mitsubishi first, as well as this digital rear view mirror. That's another first for this brand. You can get heated rear seats, heated steering wheel, the works. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto runs through a 12.3-inch touchscreen here on the center console. And then you get a digital instrument display, all the good stuff you would expect. Pricing, this thing is actually pretty competitive too. So the Outlander starts at around $37,500 in Canada, and it goes up to $49,500. That's pretty competitive with something like the Toyota RAV4, as well as the Hyundai Santa Fe or the Kia Sorento, because something that is unique about this crossover, it has a third row of seats. Now, no, you shouldn't be shopping for this thing if you have more than a couple kids that you actually like, because that third row, it's really for emergency purposes only. But let's say your kids have a couple teammates that need a ride to soccer practice, or the in-laws are in town. Having an extra set of seats can be handy in a crossover this size, because this splits the difference between something like the RAV4 as well as the Santa Fe or the Kia Sorento. So again, having that little bit of extra space is helpful in a pinch. And then to sweeten the pot, well, this thing does have standard all-wheel drive. That is very handy, not so much out here in and around Los Angeles, but back home where we have all kinds of winter weather, well, it is nice to have some extra traction. It gives you that peace of mind. I gotta be honest with you guys, I often forget about the Outlander, including how good it is. For the job this thing does, I do think it's a bit of an underrated option in the segment, especially when you factor in those third row seats. Again, if you have more than a couple kids, I don't necessarily think this thing is going to work, but if you need some extra seats every now and then, I would definitely put the Outlander on your shopping list.